Biden is quietly reversing Trump's sabotage of Obamacare. Slowly but surely, President Biden is repairing the U.S. healthcare system, reversing Trump-era sabotage and ensuring millions more Americans get access to affordable coverage. The latest of these efforts came on Friday, in a little-noticed but significant decision to protect Americans from junk health insurance. In 2017, Congress repeatedly tried and failed to repeal the Affordable Care Act. To casual observers, it might have looked like the end of the Republican fight to kill this life-saving, inequality-fighting, newly popular law. It wasn't. Over the next few years, President Donald Trump found new ways to sabotage the healthcare system and its protections for the most vulnerable Americans. Among the most insidious of these backdoor repeal measures, expanding, short-term, limited-duration health plans, i.e., attempting to trick Americans into plans that looked cheap but basically covered nothing. Short-term plans are theoretically intended as brief, stopgap coverage, say, to tide over a new college grad whose job doesn't start until the fall. They're relatively unregulated, they don't have to cover minimum care benefits guaranteed by Obamacare and other major legislation, for example. A 2018 analysis found that most don't cover maternity services, substance abuse care, or prescription drugs. These plans can also deny coverage for care of pre-existing conditions, even if the pre-existing condition in question hadn't yet been diagnosed at the time the person enrolled. People often don't realize they've bought a worthless product until it's too late, when they get hit by a bus, say, or are diagnosed with a brain tumor. Such loopholes might seem like no big deal until you find yourself falling through one. The Trump administration made sure more people did by allowing these allegedly short-term plans to last as long as 364 days, rather than the 3-month max that had been in place, and to be renewed for up to 3 years. This made them look a whole lot like regular plans. Plus, because short-term plans are mega profitable for insurers, brokers can get much larger commissions for steering hapless customers into them. So, many did. Exactly how many were lured by this policy change is unclear. The data is lousy, precisely because these products are so unregulated. A recent estimate from the Urban Institute ballparked the number of people enrolled in individual plans that are non-compliant with Obamacare protections at 2.5 million. The proliferation of short-term junk plans affects even consumers who don't get duped by them. That's because these cheaper plans disproportionately siphon healthier, i.e., lower cost, people out of the broader individual insurance marketplaces. People who have chronic conditions or otherwise know they will need more substantial coverage are more likely to stay in the regular marketplace pool, driving premiums there ever higher. Last week, however, the Biden administration announced a rollback of this Trump-era expansion of short-term health plans. In a proposed rule, Biden officials said those already in these skimpy Trump-blessed plans can continue in them, if they so choose. There were some hard lessons learned from the "if you like your plan you can keep it" blowback a decade ago, surmises Georgetown University health scholar Sabrina Corlett. But going forward, any new, short-term, limited-duration plans would need to be truly short-term, up to 3 months, and truly limited duration, renewed for up to 1 additional month only. Critically, short-term plans must also provide clearer language about what care they do and don't cover, and under what circumstances. People who choose to buy junk must know upfront that they're buying junk. The White House has marketed this rule as part of Bidenomics, though it might be more easily understood as simply pro-consumer. It also dovetails nicely with other actions the administration has taken to expand access to coverage, including outreach to encourage eligible Americans to enroll in marketplace plans and patching the so-called family glitch, a regulatory accident that had blocked a lot of families from accessing subsidized health coverage. Most important, through last summer's Inflation Reduction Act, Biden extended the enhanced premium tax credits available for plans on the individual marketplace. This has meant that millions more Americans can get solid healthcare coverage that not only is affordable but also, in many cases, has an out-of-pocket premium of $0. And unlike with those junk insurance plans, the low price tag here isn't a red flag. These plans actually do provide comprehensive coverage, including for people with pre-existing conditions. It's not a bait-and-switch. It's a real subsidy, and one that will likely drive down premiums overall, on average, by drawing more healthy people into the broader marketplace risk pool. Our healthcare system is still kludgy. It still allows too many Americans to fall through the cracks. But small unsung fixes such as this are achievements worth celebrating. Biden is quietly reversing Trump's sabotage of Obamacare. Slowly but surely, President Biden is repairing the U.S. healthcare system, reversing Trump-era sabotage and ensuring millions more Americans get access to affordable coverage. The latest of these efforts came on Friday, in a little-noticed but significant decision to protect Americans from junk health insurance. In 2017, Congress repeatedly tried. Ukraine will get meaningful security guarantees at the NATO summit. At next week's summit of NATO leaders in Vilnius, Lithuania, the allies appear prepared to outline a preliminary vision for Ukraine's future role in European security, which has been reshaped by Russia's war of aggression. Ukraine is unlikely to receive the clarity it seeks about when it will join NATO. Although Kyiv recognizes that accession would not be immediate, it seeks a positive signal, one that does not appear to be in the offing. This disappointment should not be cause for despair. Framing Ukraine's long-term security solely around the rigid binary of NATO membership is unnecessary at this stage in the war. It would set unrealistic expectations for what is possible in the near term and put both Ukraine and NATO in an avoidable bind. Race why, if Ukraine cannot liberate its entire territory, either it would have to resign itself to indefinite territorial partition, as West Germany did when it entered NATO in 1955, or the alliance would need to water down its collective defense guarantee in Article 5 to avoid ending up at war with Russia. Worse, the debate sends a dangerous message to Russian President Vladimir Putin that Ukraine is up for grabs so long as it remains outside the alliance. The option being considered ahead of next week's summit does an end run around this impasse. Western leaders are drafting a set of formal commitments to Ukraine's self-defense, modeled after what the United States has done for Israel since the 1970s. These pledges would ensure the Ukrainian armed forces' ability to defend their country and rearm after high-intensity combat ends. The Biden administration should be ambitious with this plan. Together with key European nations, the United States should broker an agreement that would provide the strategic framework for concrete multi-year funding pledges by each signatory. The arrangement should formalize a mechanism through which the signatories can develop joint threat assessments, coordinate policies and prepare contingency plans to surge additional aid to Kyiv if it were attacked in the future. The plan should also help Ukraine rebuild its once flourishing defense manufacturing sector, which is key to sustaining its military over the long term. The West should commit to equipping Ukraine with superior technology and intelligence, as well as capabilities to match or negate the obvious advantages that